Well, that's a wrap on the Motul Sports Car Endurance Grand Prix. 6 hours of racing action for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, the 8th round of the WeatherTech Championship, the 5th round of the Michelin Endurance Cup, the penultimate round of the Endurance Cup. We just have VIR for GTs only, Indy and Petite, left on the calendar, and I think this one here at Road America certainly left a mark. For some, a better mark than others. For Wayne Taylor Racing, it left a pretty good one. It was a 1-3 podium for Cadillac, a 1-3 podium for Wayne Taylor Racing, the number 10 car, victorious at the end of the day. Felipe Albuquerque and Ricky Taylor won the day. It's been one of the stories of the season, really the last couple of seasons, is what is going on with Wayne Taylor Racing. Inexplicable results given the talent in the team, both on the team side, the crew side, the managerial side, certainly the driver side, and on the car side as well. It's a winning formula, and today, finally, it was. Hard to believe, their first win as a team since Detroit 2024. They were still running an Acura back in 2024. So this is Wayne Taylor Racing's first win with a Cadillac in the V-Series R. Hard to believe. Ricky Taylor was crying on the broadcast. He was so emotional. He almost got emotional in Detroit when the team had what to this point was its only podium of the season. But for Ricky, a win today will mean a lot. Wayne was up there to celebrate when the car got to victory lane. When they sprayed the champagne, received the trophies, he got to receive the entrance trophy, and the emotion was palpable. The tears from Ricky Taylor, Felipe Albuquerque, a humongous pump of the fist getting out of the car. There was just so much raw joy. They ran out into the crowd to spray champagne, throw the hats, sign some hats for fans. This was one that was a long time coming. There was so much bottled up emotion. You could feel it in the press conference, certainly in the victory lane celebrations. This will be an absolute highlight for Wayne Taylor Racing on their calendar. And is this maybe the spark that they needed just to get the monkey off their back? We'll have to wait and see. Couple rounds left. Only 2 of those 3 include GTP cars, Indy and Petite. But there's nothing like a win to give you some momentum. The 40 car finished third. It was a strong race, but they had to contend with a lot. 3 drive-through penalties and a mechanical black flag, and still came home third. They were elevated with some late race incidents. More on that in a moment, because it was a chaotic 6-hour race in all 4 classes present, not the least of which in GTP. Let's talk about second place quickly, though. Lauren Heinrich, Tiemann Vanderhelm, and Kalen Frederick coming into the team for a 3-driver lineup this weekend. Lauren Heinrich now closing in just a little bit more on Jack Aitken's points lead. Not the day that the 31 Whelen crew would have wanted. Jack Aitken ended up tangling with Kevin Estre in the number 6 Porsche Penske Motorsport 963 in that Sunoco-inspired 917-30 livery at the end of the race. And that meant that we would end the race behind safety car. So not green flag conditions to take the checkered flag. Didn't seem to dampen Wayne Taylor Racing's spirits one single bit. But for Lauren Heinrich and JDC Miller Motorsports, they were set for a good result already inside the top 5. Second place is even better. Keep an eye on Lauren Heinrich points-wise. Still a long way back. 128 points, not insurmountable. This was a day I mathematically believe Jack Aitken could have wrapped up the driver's title. They did not finish the race. We mentioned that late race contact. It was really, really feisty in all 4 classes right from the get-go. We'll talk about that when we get to GTD Pro and GTD. But for GTP, a handful of incidents, a lot of penalties being handed down. Race control was very quick to penalize blocking, moving under braking, contact, especially if it resulted in cars going off track. The incident between Aitken and Estre resulted in both of the 31 Cadillac and the 6 Porsche Penske going off at turn 1 into the barriers. They got out of the car, and we ended under caution. Initially, this seemed to promote the number 23 Heart of Racing team, Valkyrie, to a second-place result after they were having a pretty strong day with 2 front-runners falling by the wayside. Unfortunately for them, they were penalized for incident responsibility, handed a drive-through. That knocked them down to 5th and promoted the podium to what we saw with the number 5 from JDC Miller Motorsports in 2nd and the number 40 Wayne Taylor Racing Cadillac in 3rd. Quick note on the 40 as well. Louis Delatraz in that driver lineup with Jordan Taylor. We mentioned the penalties and all the things that they had to overcome in that race. Louis had a heck of a time in the car, was penalized for blocking, fighting with Felipe Nasser. The 2 made contact on multiple occasions into turn 5. Delatraz was deemed to have blocked Nasser on the way up the hill. He felt that was unfair and made his opinions known on social media. Nonetheless, they rebounded to a podium, and I think they'll be happy for that. For Acura Meyershank Racing, it was a 1-2 at the start. The 93 was on pole position, compliments of Nick Yellowlee's lap on Saturday. The 93 would still finish fourth. I think that was maximized result because it was a topsy-turvy day. It was a day to forget, though, for the 60 car. Tom Blomqvist had a wreck in his orange and white liveried ARX 06, a solo crash that took him out of contention. That car did not finish the race. Certainly a weekend to put behind for BMW M Team WRT. I think the feeling in the paddock and in the media center was this was BMW's race to lose, and it certainly looked that way in the early stages. The number 25 in the hands of Philipp Eng led a lot of the opening stages. They stayed out longer on a fuel stint, so they were a little bit off sequence, mind you, but still, the pace in the BMWs was undeniable. And for the 24, albeit with a different driver lineup, that was the winning car from last year. And it looked like it was a winning car today. I think pace-wise it certainly was. Reliability, though, struck both the 24 and the 25. The 24, remember, wearing that Spider-Man brand new day livery to commemorate the movie release this weekend. The 25, aside from some reliability issues, it was cooling with the energy recovery system that ultimately ended their day. They were handed 3 drive-thrus throughout the race. And for the sister car, the 24, they had a braking issue that would ultimately force a retirement. LMP2, chaotic as ever. My goodness, what an eventful race for that class. Right from the beginning, a large incident involving 5 cars took many contenders out of contention. It's always tight in LMP2, always very competitive. When it was all said and done, it was a repeat victory back-to-back for the number 43 Inter-Europol competition. Bijoy Garg, Jeremy Clark, and Tom Dillman taking victory. Really did it by keeping the nose clean. There's a lot of pace in the 43. They've been one of the ones to watch right from the get-go in Daytona, but really the name of the game for LMP2 was just surviving. The number 04, much the same. The CrowdStrike car that led the points coming into today. They finished second. Really strong result for them. Just behind the first podium of the season for the number 11 TDS racing car, and that was a really highlight result. They were ecstatic on the podium getting to spray the champagne. We mentioned the drama with United Autosports. It was an early spin for Daniel Goldberg after the drop of the green flag, and then the 2 and the 22 came to blows on one of the late restarts, and that's the golden rule of motor racing. Don't hit your teammate. The 2 was penalized, the 22 was sent spinning into the wall. Further up the road, the GTP cars were tangling, and we'd fall under caution and end the race that way. But either way, for United Autosports, they'll look to put Road America behind them and move on to Indianapolis. Let's talk GTD Pro. There were fireworks last year. There were fireworks this year. Although of the 4 classes, they were certainly not the most incident-filled. It was a phenomenal day for Pfaff Motorsports, bearing the title sponsorship of the race on the car in Motul. Steve Bortolotti and the crew got it done. This is the first year of global competition for the Temerario GT3, and this is its first endurance win. How about that? And having it come at a place like Elkhart Lake and Road America, I think is going to be particularly special. And having a win for that car in its first year, that was a target that Steve Bortolotti told reporters was on his mind going into this year. This is the first GT3 car that Lamborghini has built from the ground up, and Andrea Caldarelli said in the post-race press conference he feels like he's part of the brick walls back at the Lamborghini factory. He's been involved with, obviously, the former development of the Lamborghini SC63 prototype and heavily involved with the development of now the Lamborghini Temerario GT3, and he says this was a huge weight off his shoulders. He and Sandy Mitchell were so happy in victory lane, and deservedly so. This was a phenomenal result for them. I think the margin at the end obviously closed by the yellow, but probably would have been larger had there not been so many incidents throughout the race. There were 9 total full course yellows and safety car periods. We ran just about 2 hours under yellow in this 6-hour contest. I think the gap for the Pfaff car would have been even larger. The last 2 rounds of pit stops really put the 9 car to the fore, and they were the dominant car from then on out. They also benefited from AO Racing, who finished second with the 77, the Rexy car, and Manthey Racing, the number 911, squabbling just a little bit. The 911's day was hampered by a drive-through penalty that dropped them down the order. AO Racing was the benefactor of that. I haven't seen Nick Tandy this happy since he won in a prototype. He was absolutely elated. The 77 has been on the podium, still chasing their first win of the season, but he was really happy with the result here today. It was a hard-fought second place at that. It was a really busy race in both GTD Pro and GTD right from the drop of the green flag. The number 4 Corvette Racing by Pratt Miller Motorsports Z06 GT3R, Tommy Milner and Nicky Katzberg celebrated a 3rd place result. We talked about the fact that the 2 factory-backed Corvettes would really like a positive result here in Road America, and they came away with some hardware. The Mustangs from Ford Multimatic Racing were 4th and 5th, and 1 through 4, I believe, in the points right now is less than 100 points. It is still as close as ever. But what of the championship points leaders? Paul Miller racing in the number 1 BMW M4 GT3 Evo. They still hold the points lead, but it has narrowed significantly. It's now just 15 points difference between the number 1 Paul Miller BMW and the number 4 Corvette. It is going down to the wire. The last 3 rounds of this season will all include GT3 cars from GTD Pro and GTD. The GTD Pro Championship battle, I have a feeling, is going to come down probably to the last couple hours at Petit Le Mans. You'd expect nothing less from the Pro GT category. And in GTD, 19 cars, and boy, it was busy. When it was all said and done, one of the strongest cars in the field, the number 57 Windward Racing Mercedes AMG, took the win. Russell Ward, Indy Danche, and who else but Philip Ellis. A late pass on the number 023 Triarci Competizione car with last year's class winner Kenton Cook installed. That was a really fun battle to watch between the two of them. Kenton Cook was really happy with the second place result, and that Ferrari 296 GT3 didn't look the strongest GT3 car in the field, but a second place in class I think is absolutely maximized for one of the best in the business in Kenton Cook. On top of that, they did it really light on fuel as well. The pass was made by Philip Ellis on the final restart, and while that may not be new because Philip Ellis is Philip Ellis, remember that the fuel game was being played by Triarci, and they played it well, still came home in second in class. A late shuffle saw the number 81 Dragon Speed Corvette put in front of the 068. This was one of the cars that we were really impressed by from their qualifying efforts. YRB Racing and the mysterious Car Blanche entity. They were really strong in the race as well. When it was all said and done, provisional results have put the 068 Aston Martin back in front of the 81 Dragon Speed car that's now classified in 4th. But again, these results are provisional at the time of recording here as the sun is setting over Road America on Sunday night, race day night. As far as the Bob Aitken Award is concerned, 13 Autosports won the day again. Ori Fidani and Matt Bell and Lars Kern taking home Bob Aitken honors here in Wisconsin. 6 hours of racing gave us 9 caution periods and a whole lot of running behind the safety car, but certainly no shortage of action. I think the racing in GTP was hard. It certainly, according to race control, was over the line at times, and that was reflected in penalties. We had what looked to be a late shootout that was hampered by some contact in the GTP class, some tussling from the United Autosports teammates. But I think the bigger story to take away is that we did it. We went racing for 6 hours here in Wisconsin. This is something that fans have been asking for quite some time. John Doonan and the team at IMSA listened. The team at Road America listened, and they made it happen. I know John Doonan has made some comments about the fact that he would really like to race into the night here. I have a feeling that will happen at some point. That's not based on any information I know or don't know. That's simply based on a feeling. When John Doonan sets his mind to something, it generally happens. He made this race happen. I have a feeling he's going to continue to listen to the fans. Something I'm keeping my eye on, though, is how feisty it's going to get as championship battles continue to come down to the wire. In GTP, Lauren Heinrich has been an absolute wild card this year, and he has impressed us right from the get-go, and he is becoming an instant superstar. In GTD Pro, it's as close as ever. In LMP2, it's as close as ever. And in GTD, it's still close. Everywhere you look, there's a championship battle to feast on. I can tell you fan numbers-wise, while we don't have exact numbers, they were up. It was clear from looking around. I can tell you just from getting around to film this interview, I had to wait in lines of traffic from people moving around the track, getting out of the track. And the race is many hours gone at this point. Post-race press conferences are gone. Most of the drivers are probably making their way to the hotel and airport. And even still, there are fans out and about. I can see just behind the camera, fans still barbecuing, making dinner, and packing up their RVs and campers. And that was such a delightful thing to see. I got to traverse a lot of this beautiful 4.048-mile road course here today during the 6-hour contest. And there were fans in every nook and cranny. And this is a vast, vast facility here in the Kettle Moraine region of Wisconsin. And it's just a great thing to see. We typically see grid walks packed here at IMSA. That's not a new story. It's a sign of the health of the sport. But this one, at a place as big as Road America, to see it packed in the way it was, I think to me was really, really encouraging. 3 rounds left. Only one of them is a Michelin Endurance Cup round. We go first to Virginia International Raceway for a GT showcase, GTD and GTD Pro, before a 2-hour and 40-minute contest at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. And then we end the season, as we always do, at Motul Petit Le Mans in October. Thanks so much for staying tuned to dailysportscar.com on YouTube, on the web, on our social media pages. I've been Jonathan Grace, and this has been your post-race report. Stay tuned to DSC, and we'll see you in the next one.